Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close, I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
Okay, Rob, what episode are we on today? I think, okay, there it is. I said 451. Lots to cover, guys. There's a lot of things that even happened overnight that we got to get into, but there was a fiery interview with Trump at the National Association of Black Journalists. And there were a lot of moments where it was funny, where all of a sudden Trump says, I didn't know Kamala was black. I thought she was Indian. And the media's taking that clip. They've been looking forward to that clip, and they've been running with it. We'll cover that. Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh killed in Tehran as Iran vows revenge against Israel. And that's definitely not looking good there. Travis and Jason Kelsey asking for $100 million for their new Heights podcast. We'll talk about that. 86% of renters say they cannot afford to buy a home, with majority saying they will never afford one. California, this one's funny as hell, guys. California, ran by this guy named Gavin Newsom, very good-looking guy. California City rolls out all-electric police fleet, first in the U.S. Guess what the electric cars are? Tom, can you tell us what the all-electric police fleet is in California?
They're made by Gavin Newsom's arch enemy, Elon Musk.
All he had to say was Tesla. That's all he had to say. It was Tesla. But Tom's trying to, he's going to be in a movie.
I put a little art into it.
I like that. I like the fact that he did that. Okay, fire somebody. Senator Hawley got into a shouting match with Secret Service acting director over assassination attempt. You'll see that. Have babies for Russia. Putin presses women to embrace patriotism over feminism. You guys are going to love that story. Acting service director hurt by counter sniper email ripping leadership after Trump shooting. We'll cover that. Secret Service sniper warns of another assassination attempt could be imminent as agencies' failures are exposed. Kamala Harris's popularity reaches record high. Starbucks misses revenue estimates as same-store sales decline for the second quarter. People are not drinking coffee. I was thinking about getting back to drinking coffee. It's been 20 years.
Or they have no money.
Yeah. Cost of Miami office space hits record high. 22 people injured, 22 cops injured in a clash with protesters near site of UK stabbing attack that killed 3 girls at Taylor Swift's themed dance. That's a New York Post story. White dudes for Harris. Zoom call raises $4 million for Kamala's campaign. We're going to find out if some of you guys were on that. Harris makes play for white men. Michael Moore goes full Kamala. The country is female. White men will be shown the door. Then there's another one coming up. Kamala Harris's woke juvenile justice law sets to free pedophile killer. San Francisco mayor looks to tackle city drug crisis by paying residents to stay sober. What a phenomenal idea there.
Oh, boy.
Listen, we'll pay you if you don't drink any alcohol.
Promise? You got to promise.
Yeah, and then overnight, you had Evan, is it Gershkovich that we're talking about? That story that's coming up, which is pretty wild. Trump made some claims on what he was going to do. It looks like Russia's coming in, and some of the stuff is happening earlier. 9/11 guys that were involved in the 9/11. You should see what happened with those guys not getting the death penalty. And then we got a couple other stories. I got one story that came overnight that I really liked that I want to hit up. I thought it was fantastic, by Jamie Dimon, talking about the fact that leaders must travel. Jamie Dimon says business travel is essential for leaders who don't want to fail. I'll send that to you, Rob. And then I got this story that came up that possibly one of the boxers that beat up a girl, that this Italian girl just raised her hand in the Olympics. They're claiming the opponent failed a gender test in 2023. I don't even know what that is. Is it like cough? Like there's no, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
Hey, what is this? Like this is not supposed to be here.
That's none of your business.
Right. If you're going to, I mean, I don't know. We'll find out there. But gang, before we get into it, 2 nights ago, I did a webinar, the AI Revolution webinar. Biggest private webinar we've ever done. It was insane. People from all over the world were tuning in, and we gave everybody the white paper. And we announced the different speakers that'll be at the Vol Conference. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, which you already know. Nick Saban, greatest college football coach of all time. If you say no, it's because you probably don't like the guy, but the guy's won, I think, 7 national championships. This will be one of the first business conferences he's doing since he retired. Max Tegmark, who wrote a book called Life 3.0. Some claim it's the best book of all time on AI. Even Elon Musk is a big fan of his. And then Will Guidara, who founded the #1 restaurant in the world. Vault Conference. We have CEO tickets sold out, founder tickets sold out, executive tickets sold out. Platinum's about to sell out. Only generals are going to be left. And then the Menect. Those of you guys that are competing for Menect, I cannot wait for you to come to the Menect dinner, the Menect lounge. There's going to be a room where you'll be networking with other people, CEOs. Here's what the categories look like right now with lightweight. Bryce Mitchell's at the top, then Caleb, then Jose competing. Rob, can you just go to the site so we can see some of the other names? Just go to Menect and then go to the leaders board, and we can show that. Zoom in a little bit if you could. So the way it works, the scoring system, per Menect you finish. Go to the top, Rob, a little bit. Not that high. Go a little lower, Rob. Go a little low, right in the middle, right there. For each completed Menect is 1 point. Each review is 2 points. Each unique review is 3 points that you get. So based on that scoring system, you can go a little lower. Here's what you'll notice. Bryce Mitchell at the top, then Caleb, Jose. These are people that have never been an expert on Menect, that never had done a Menect, that just started. Adam Hudson, Brianne Dressen, Stephen Hamal, all these guys. You're in the top 10. Go to the next one, middleweight. These are people that had done Menect before. Matten's first place right now. Big Lee, 211. Then it's Samuel Riley, Drew Miller, Cecilia Vargas is on there, and CEO Rollo Tomasi. Okay, he's at 6th place.
Rollo.
Now go to the next one,
Welcome
heavyweight.
back, Rollo.
We got Dennis Panev, first place, then it's Candace, then it's Calvin Ing. Dustin's right behind Calvin. Rob Gargullo. Oh, Rob G, buddy boy. Wayne Wyant, Michael Mara, Sapala, Kelly Davis. Super heavyweight, Vinny, dominating everybody. And then let's go to the next one. Go to the next one. These are users asking questions. Matt's at the top, but only a 10-point lead. And I think he's coming from Australia to the vault. Russell Morgan. Mark. I'm sorry, Mark. And then Russell Morgan, Rachel, Ronald. You know who you are. And then go to the next one. These are people that have never used Menect. Now they're asking questions. Shaw, Rachel Cox, Matthew, user 0, Chris. So these are folks that are using Menect. Gang, in a political climate like this, you guys are asking a lot of questions about politics. Download the app. Ask Candace. She responds like this. Ask Tulsi. They're actually responding. Ask Cuomo. They're actually responding. What do you think about XYZ? Some of the biggest communications right now are being done on Menect. Go back to that profile you had, Rob, of all those guys. Questions for me, for Tom, for Vinny, for Adam. Use our QR code. Ask us whatever questions you got today. All right, let's get right into it. Let's see what's the first story for us to get into. I'd like to get into the first story. 86% of renters say they cannot afford to buy a home, with majority saying they will never afford one. And this is a story from, who is this from? Fox Business. Let's go through this here. 86% of U.S. renters say they can't afford to buy a home. 50% doubt they will ever own a home. Brent Bjornson, a 39-year-old father, explains homeownership seems impossible, and that hurts for 2 kids of baby boomers. Matt Agan, a CNN reporter, notes this is just widening the gap between the haves and have-nots, emphasizing that 83% of Americans consider homeownership as essential milestone, yet many can't achieve it due to escalating cost. Jeremy Anderson, a 40-year-old father of twins representing a growing sentiment, says, we have given up on home ownership. I'm not going to pay $350,000. Shit, $350,000. You wish that was the case in South Florida. For a rundown house, the rising prices of starter homes, now at least $1 million in 237 cities, exasperate this frustration. Tom, thoughts on the story?
Well, this is the affordability crisis, another story in living color about it. And what people are talking about is, hey, inflation is making it so expensive to live. How am I supposed to save a down payment? Now, veterans don't need a down payment, but the rest of us do, at least 10%. So inflation in PBD is making it hard for people just to save for that down payment. And then, okay, now you've got a down payment, but how big is that monthly payment going to be based on the price of the house? And we had yesterday the news, Jimmy, the day before yesterday, previous podcast, the news that people were getting into contracts, like an offer is a contract. Well, but now can you get it done? And banks were causing those contracts to be canceled because they can't approve them for the loan with everything there. So this is basically underlining the affordability crisis, but also it underlines you can't wait on the economy. It may suck, but you got to drive with side hustles and do a lot of things to get yourself up. You can't just wait for it to come back to you. You got to be inspired and you got to drive against it. But this is what the average person is facing. This is the affordability crisis in living color.
Adam.
Yeah, this is the conversation of our time. It's, we had a conversation a few days ago about, has the American dream changed? And I said, or is the American dream dead? And I said, no, the American dream is not dead. It's just completely changed. The American dream, formerly known as buying a house, having 2.2 kids, having the picket fence, having the 2-car garage. Well, that's great for your parents, for your grandparents. But if you're trying to do that now, there's something that is working against you, and it's a 4-letter word, and it's called math. So if you want to get the 2 cars, if you want to get the picket fence, if you want to get the house, you want to do that, and how much does it cost to raise a kid? $250,000 from 0 to 18. The average price of a house is now record high. What's the average price of a house? About $450,000. That's average. Good luck if you're in LA. Good luck if you're in San Francisco. Good luck if you're in New York. Good luck if you're in Miami, any of these major cities. So the math doesn't add up. So my question to you guys is, how much money do you want to put towards your house? So you could buy a house, go for it, but you might end up being broke because of it. I say the number one thing that's going to cause you to drive to the poorhouse is your car. But what will keep you in the poorhouse is buying a little too much house than you can afford. Now, the last thing I'll say is it all depends on who you are. So here's my recommendation, take it, leave it, what have you. If you're single and you don't have kids, and this is not something you're doing the next 2-3 years, what have you, there's zero reason to buy a house unless you're some expert realtor, professional real estate guy. If you have a family and you have kids, this is a difficult situation because you're probably going to need 3 bedrooms at least. You're going to need space for the kids, for the family, if your in-laws come in, what have you. So I totally understand that component. And the last thing I'll say about real estate, Rob, I think I sent you something. Pat brought this up the other day about the investment of it. The stock market doubles what you'll receive in terms of.
Is that what you said?
Yes, exactly.
That's so funny. I'm looking at the same thing.
Okay, perfect. Because we talked about this.
Yeah.
So, people don't. The beauty of real estate is you can touch it, you can hold it, you can feel it. A lot of people don't understand the stock market.
Yeah.
There's people listening out there, they're like, dude, I don't know, bulls, bears, red, green, up, down. I have no clue. But I understand what a house is, and I understand what touching it and feeling it a property is. So if you look at this report, Rob, so 9.8% is the historical return, so basically 10%. Where's real estate? 4.2%. So it's literally a double bet, more than double to put yourself in the stock market. Now, again, it's lifestyle, it's emotional, I get it.
Let me show this.
Yes,
Rob, on this same, that's the one you want to go to.
Yep.
That's the one you want to go to. So check this out. So if you go to 30s, go to real estate. 30s, the entire decade, you would have made minus 1.2% in real estate. Of course, we know why.
The big crash.
40s, you would have made 8.1% annual rate of return. 50s, 3. 60s, 2. 70s, 8.7. 80s, 5.9. 90s, 2.7. 2000s, 4. 2010, 3.8. Look at that for 3 decades. It was 4% or less. 2020, it's what? 10.2. What happened to the next decade after we had an 8+? Go to the 8+ decade, what do you see? 3, 2. Go to the other 8+ decade, what do you see? 5.9, 2.7, 4.38. So we may have just had the greatest decade ever in real estate. It's not going to follow up by another 10.2, folks. If that's what people are looking for, that's not what the follow-up's going to be. There's going to be a bit of a fall. And if you can look at all the other stuff, by the way, you can look at cash, you can look at stocks. On the stock side, you'll see minus 0.9, 8.5, 19.5, 7.7, 5.9, 17.3, 18, minus 1, 13.4, 11.9. 4 out of the last 5 decades have been in double digits. By the way, last night a guy sends me a Connect, and he's asking me about financial advice. I said, first of all, let me start off by saying, even though I was a financial advisor for 20 years, I'm no longer a financial advisor. He says, you talked about, stock market, all this stuff. You talked about crypto, Bitcoin, gold. Where should I put my money if the cash is going to take a massive hit? I said, here's what I would suggest to you. How do you feel about AI? How revolutionary do you think AI is going to be in business? And who do you think AI will impact the most? If you actually think about it, who's AI going to impact the most?
Positive or negative?
Positively, who's it going to impact the most? Think
Business
about
owners and...
Okay, so specifically who though? Fortune 500 companies?
Big time.
Right.
Business owners?
Yeah.
Because they have the ability, those who adjust and put money into AI, they're going to blow up. How much are they going to blow up? What's happening to NVIDIA? What's happening to these? NVIDIA was a $10 billion company just a decade ago, 14 years ago. It's a $3.3 trillion company right now.
Crazy.
What does that look like? But this is the part. If somebody's watching right now and they believe AI is going to revolutionize the way we do business, you have one of three options. Either one, apply it in your day-to-day life. Either two, work for a company that is leveraging AI and participate in the upside. Or three, go out there and start a business that's AI. But for some of you guys that are watching and saying, what if I'm none of that stuff? Guess what? Invest in equities. I'm not giving you advice as a financial advisor. This varies to everybody else. Equities is going to go for the next 10, 20 years if you believe in AI. Simply if you believe AI is going to revolutionize the game in a major way. A part of the PowerPoint that we were talking about on the AI webinar with the white paper we gave everybody that was on, we put 300 hours of research into it. It talks about every single time manufacturing came out, who took a hit. It shows how many cars they were able to produce with the technology advancement. But AI is going to take this thing to levels we've never seen before. And what will AI affect? Basic question. Will AI affect gold? No. Will AI affect real estate? No. Will AI affect cash? No. Will AI affect Bitcoin? Crypto?
Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes, maybe. Will AI affect equities?
All day long.
Of course. Of course. So I think I'm very bullish on what AI is going to do to the market. So for some that are saying real estate, again, 5-10 years, family, kids, that's going to happen. Do your thing. But if not, don't count out equities because there's a lot of guys making money right now in equities.
So because you were talking about, Adam, somebody like, put yourself in my shoes. Veteran, so I got no down payment. That's what Tom was talking about. I'm planning on, kids, marriage, all that stuff within these 3 years. We saw that the prices are starting to drop in Florida, Tom. Like I thought maybe now would be the time to start looking, Tom, and get that, especially if that's where I'm looking to be. Why not pull the trigger a little bit earlier if that's already
it may be. And what we're going to do is we'll get together and we'll get smart. We'll get smart about the neighborhood, smart about the candidate properties, smart about the HOA. You can be smart. You can have two townhouses on the same street. One is an 800 HOA, one is a 400 HOA. Those kind of costs will chase you around. So get smart about it and you can find optimized opportunities.
Let's go to the next one. Have babies for Russia. Putin presses women to embrace patriotism over feminism. Russia's Vladimir Putin has urged women to prioritize childbirth over careers to grow Russia's population, stating many of our grandmothers and great-grandmothers had 7 or 8 children and maybe even more. We should preserve and revive these wonderful traditions. Putin has linked this push to national security, especially in the context of the war in Ukraine, as he seeks to forge a militarized nationalist society rooted in Orthodox Christianity. By the way, this is a shot. This is not a positive article about him. WAPO's trying to go after him, right? Putin's policies are seen as rolling back women's rights, with Russians, feminists, and human rights advocates criticizing the emphasis on traditional family values. Let me just read that. WAPO, you wrote this. Let me read this sentence to you one more time, folks. Please, I just want you to hear how these guys spin this idea here. Listen. Putin's policies are seen as rolling back women's rights, with Russian feminists and human rights advocates criticizing the emphasis on traditional values. What? Emphasis on traditional family values? Health Minister Mikhail Murashko and Deputy Prime Minister Tatiana have promoted early childbirth, with Golivka asserting the earlier of the first child is born, the earlier the second and third will be. Despite efforts to promote large families, Russia's birth rate continues to decline, with 1.26 million children born in 2023, lowest since 1999. Tom, I got a lot of thoughts on this, but I want to go to you first. What's on your mind?
a cynical person could say, oh, well, he sent all these young men to die in the war and it's been terrible. And then, depending on, who you believe of how many hundreds of thousands of soldiers are permanently crippled or been killed, he's just trying to replace his soldier network. I don't think so. I think Putin is ahead of the rest of the West on pointing out, if I don't get the right people having babies in my country, said Putin, then I'm going to lose my country, and I don't want to lose my country. So say what you will about Putin, say what you will about things. He certainly has things to be, picked on and things that are a little bit crazy. But you know what? He is saying the same thing that we were saying. Any given country, if the leader is calling out the right people to have babies, what he's trying to do is sustain his country. He's not trying to roll women's back. He's trying to get people to have families. And he's quoting facts. Our grandmothers and great-grandmothers had 7 or 8 children. That's truth. That's what it was. And that's what built up Russia. I look at this. That's what I think.
Adam.
So the question is, why do people on the right in America admire Vladimir Putin? Think about that for a second, because we're in a proxy war with Putin in Ukraine, and there's a whole conversation to be had about how people feel about Ukraine. But why do people on the right, especially in the MAGA camp, actually align with Putin? Because he actually still stands for traditional family values. And there's an argument to be had why this brutal dictator, KGB man who we should not be admiring in the West, who would love to see the decline of America, why there is such admiration for a guy like this is because he's standing for the things that people of tradition believe, people of the Judeo-Christian faith, especially Christian faith, people with family values actually stand for. And we're seeing this declination of traditional family values, which we've talked about so many times here: lack of community, lack of religion, lack of family, lack of kids, and this selfish search for money. But he actually sang with a lot of people's minds. Forget about the fact that if you dissent with him, he'll just kill you, end up with a little, out the window somehow, or a little, poison or all that. But he does stand for what a lot of people actually want in their life. And the difference between what happens in America versus Russia is there's no identity politics there, from what I understand. They're not playing the gender ideology game. You're not going to get canceled for saying this. He's come out pretty hardcore on the LGBTQ agenda. So the progressive feminist that's sort of taking over the West, America, Scandinavian countries, Canada, what have you, he's like, yeah, we're not playing this game. So I do understand why there's a lot of alignment with Putin, although he is a bad dude.
I mean, how many leaders are? Every leader has to make bad decisions and do bad things and bomb people, just like our leaders have done in the past. But the message of, guys, the numbers. Adam, we were always talking about the numbers screaming. The numbers are screaming. Just in general, we need to start having more children, bro. Put them. All that negative stuff, bro. The people of Russia love this guy, and it's because of that type of attitude, and he should be pushing back.
Rob, what is that? Can you zoom into that real quick? So ideal number of children for Russia. This is ideal, or this is current situation?
This was in the WAPO article, so I'm not...
Can't hear you, Rob.
I don't know if your mic's working, buddy.
So who said ideal? Ideal number of children according to who?
I believe WAPO. This is the chart that was in the WAPO article.
But what does that mean, though? Ideal. Like ideal, making sure. So Putin has restored 1970, having 10 children or more, et cetera, et cetera. Ideal number of children for Russia. Okay. So right now, their birth rate, if you type in Russia's current birth rate, is 1.49, give or take. That's 2-3 years ago, but that's what I see, 1.49. Can you type in, oh, fantastic. Go to that. Look at that chart. That's exactly the chart I wanted to go all the way back. Okay, no, stay where you're at. U.S. right now is what? 1.66. Russia is 1.49. Ukraine is 1.16, right? So meaning Russia and Ukraine in the last 60 years, go back 60 years, they were at 2.45, 2.52, Ukraine 2.2. But look at U.S. Look at the 60s. We went from 3.65 in the 60s to go mid-70s where we fell behind them. Where were we at? 1.74. Then we went up to 2, and then now we're at the lowest we've ever been in the history of America, okay? Ever been. Last night, I'm at the house. did a podcast with Russell Peters, and he comes and we have a cigar, and then ends up being two. And then we're thinking we're going to finish up by 10 o'clock, after having dinner at Casa D'Angelo. We said, let's go to 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Ends at 1:15 is when we wrap up. And then he heads out to Tampa because he's performing, I think, this weekend or something like that in Tampa. You know what the entire conversation was about? Having kids, having families, how much work it is to have kids. Do you want to have kids? Is it good? Is it bad? We talked about LGBTQ. We talked about who's a positive to society. Until a society doesn't change who they turn into heroes, people are not going to have kids. If you reckon whatever a country recognizes, that's what kids are going to do. In the podcast, Russell Peters, that's going to come out, here's what he says to me. He says, you're going to see this. He says, my 11-year-old daughter, he lives in LA, my 11-year-old daughter came up to me and she said, hey, Daddy. I said, what? He says, I think I'm a boy. He says, what do you mean? He says, I think I'm a boy. I'm going to transition into a boy. You're not a boy. Trust me, you're not a boy. No, I'm a boy. And then he's like, oh, here we go. So then next year, 12-year-old, she comes to him and she says, I don't want to be a boy. I'm a lesbian at 12 years old. And then 13 years old, which is the current now, he talks about this openly. She says, you know what? I'm actually bi. Okay? He says the good news is at this point she's on track to being straight by the time she's 18, right? So obviously it's a good bit.
It's funny, yeah.
But at the same time, he's telling the story. And I said, are you bullshitting or are you being serious? He said, no, I'm being dead serious. I said, when you and I were 12, 13 years old, did we know what it was to be bi or what it was when we went to school? He says, I don't know any of this kind of stuff. I said, yeah, me neither. He went to school in Toronto. It's not like we went to school in the same place. At 11, 12 years old, I went to school in Germany and Glendale, California. We knew nothing about this kind of stuff, right? Now, the recognition is of what it is to be part of the LGBTQ community, all this other stuff, right? And again, we've talked, I'm gonna beat this like a freaking, I'm gonna talk about so many times until everyone starts asking this question. Father's Day one day, Mother's Day one day, LGBTQ nearly 150 days per year dedicated. Does that make any sense to you? That's how America goes from how many kids? Can you go back to it again? From 3.65 to now being at 1.66. So the fact that Russia is getting up there and talking about this and they're at 1.49, bringing back family values. And I'm asking last night the question, I'm like, wait a minute. How much more important are you to society than LGBTQ? You can't say that. No, I can't say that. You have a harder job to be a father. It's a harder job to be a mother. This is not about the recognition. So the less a country promotes that and they don't turn fathers and mothers into heroes, people are not going to want to have kids. Here's a question for you. Governors, I used to talk about, when's the last time you saw a governor recommend books for people to read? When's the last time you saw a president? When's the last time a president I'm actually asking a real question. I've asked this many times. Tell me when's the last time a president got up and says, I believe everybody in America needs to stop doing whatever they're doing right now and go read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Go read Cash Flow Quadrant. Go read whatever book on money. When's the last time you saw a president say, go read Think and Grow Rich. Go read Laws of Success. Go read As a Man Thinketh. Go read The Millionaire Next Door. When's the last time a president recommended a book? When's the last time? Why not?
JFK, maybe.
And then what do presidents do behind closed doors? What do you think they're doing? They're reading. How come we don't? Now, here's the other part. When's the last time you saw them recognizing fathers and mothers and how hard it is to be a father and a mother? Actually, when's the last time you saw that recognition? When's the last time? When's the last time you saw somebody recognizing what it is to be a father and a mother? Now, when's the last time you saw them recognizing and maybe even launching their presidential campaign on a RuPaul show?
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
On a RuPaul
Thanks,
show.
Kamala,
This lady named, Indian lady named Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Who did that, right? On RuPaul's show. Okay? So what happened there? What's that all about? What are you advertising? What is this advertising? What is the Olympics advertising? They're advertising this. Are they advertising, hey, to all the parents out there who have kids and to all the kids, I want to start off by telling you, all kids, we all start off with dreams. Every one of these kids had a parent that supported them and them becoming gymnasts and them becoming runners and them becoming this. When's the last time that message? Hey, every one of these, some of you kids that are watching this, that your parents take you to practices, that your parents drive you on the weekends, that your parents take you on travel teams, make sure you tell your parents you love them. Make sure you tell your parents you're thankful for them. Make sure you tell your parents that they're amazing for doing what they're doing. They're taking time away from each other. They're putting time into you. That tells you how much they love you. Why aren't we getting a message like that to edify parents and the kids that are giving their best? Why are we not doing that? That's the problem. So good for Putin for going back to family values, traditional family values. And by the way, to the folks at WAPO and all these other people that want feminist values, if America doesn't go back to family values, this will be a very different place very soon, especially with the rate we're going right now.
And PBD, I mean, great point. And if you think about it, it's not as if they're hiding the agenda. When you have people from the World Economic Forum, you have Klaus Schwab, you have Bill Gates saying that the number one problem in our society is what? Overpopulation. It's not as if it's a secret thing that they're trying to push. That's why all these people are backing it. That's why the presidential nominee is sitting in front of a drag race RuPaul thing to kick off her campaign. You know what I mean? It's not even hiding. Look at the Olympics. Look at everything is this push, and it's like you can be a strong, independent woman. You don't need no man. You don't need no this. No. We're going to be extinct at this rate. We're going to be extinct.
I'd like to not correct you, but I want to amplify something.
Yeah.
The WEF is not saying the population is a problem. They're saying depopulation is necessary.
Yeah.
And there's a gap there. It's like the Germans saying, hey, we believe that Jewish people in our society are causing problems, versus the Germans saying, hey, for a more perfect Aryan nation, we're going to round them up and exterminate them. That is completely different. And that is what the WEF is talking about. They're talking about depopulation.
Yeah.
And so, you cannot applaud how Putin executes his leadership. It's pretty brutal and pretty horrifying. But what he is saying about what they hold dear, and if you read about it, the average Russian will tell you what they refer to as Mother Russia. They have a deep love for their country, but they have deep disdain for a lot of their leadership. Gee, that kind of sounds familiar. If you got together with a Russian person and say, do you love your country? I love my country and what it all represents. I remember this is where I grew up. I have disdain for my leadership. Guess what? We have something in common, dude.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah,
I'll just add one more thing. So you remember a few months ago, there was the speech that this guy Harrison Butker made.
Yeah.
Where in the past, if he said, ladies, enjoy being mothers, have a family, support your man, live your life, that would not have been a controversial speech. But in the day that we're living in today, oh my God, he's public enemy number one. He's racist, he's misogynist, he's crazy. So we're living in this time where if you believe in traditional values, you're the bad guy. And I fully agree with Pat on the hero making machine. When you came and you dressed up as a trans person and came on my show, you said something very fitting. You're like, trans is the new trend, Adam.
Yeah.
And it is. And, we had the conversation about Bill Maher and kind of where he's at. Remember the stat, I sent it to Rob, about what percentage of generations.
5 generations.
Are basically now identify as LGBT. The numbers are looking in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So, the baby boomers, 1%. Gen X, 2%, millennials, 5-10%, Gen Z, now almost 20% identify with this LGBT movement.
Let's go to the
So we're
next.
trending in the wrong direction.
Yes, and by the way, they almost depopulated one additional person who was a former president. They tried to do that, but acting Secret Service director hurt by counter snipers, email ripping leadership after Trump shooting. By the way, the back and forth with Josh Hawley, which we want to show this clip to you. We're going to show you 2 clips, so let me just read this to you, and I'll go to Rob here. During a Senate hearing, Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn confronted acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe over an email from a counter sniper criticizing the agency's leadership following the July 13th assassination attempt on former President Trump. The email stated, "This agency needs to change, and if not now, when? The next assassination in 30 days." And claimed the U.S. Secret Service motto is CYA, cover your ass. Rowe responded, I'm hurt because my people are hurting right now. Rob, play this clip, and then we'll go to the other one as well. Go for it.
Senator, so I am hurt by that email, but not in the way you think I'm saying it. I'm hurt because my people are hurting right now. We need them.
Then why did somebody delete the email?
I'll get back to you on that.
The agency deleted the email.
But may I address your question?
Yes, please.
I will get back to you as to whether
Yes.
the email was deleted or not. My agency is hurting. emotions are raw. I actually want to hear more from that UD officer, that technician. In his email, he referenced that he had spent time serving our nation as a United States Marine, that he is a 20-year professional of the Secret Service. I am committed to being a change agent, meaning I am committed to reviewing some of these things. I looked at the points in his email very quickly. I saw it as I was on my way over here this morning. I want to have further conversations, not only with him, but also the counter supervisors.
If I may step back in. Sir.
Literally just filibustering.
Oh, my God.
It's filibustering. They deleted the email, people.
Go ahead, Rob. Do you have the Josh Hawley one?
Yes, this one's more
Go
explosive.
ahead.
Insurance, and as opposed to zeroing in on one,
what more do you
or
need
two
to
individuals,
investigate
we want
to know
find out exactly what the
more do you
decision-making
need to
process
investigate
was.
to know that there were critical enough failures that some individuals ought to be held accountable? I mean, what more do you need to know?
What I need to know is exactly what happened, and I need my investigators to do their job. And I cannot.
A lot of people didn't do their
I cannot
jobs.
put my thumb on the scale. Otherwise,
what do you mean put your thumb on
the
the scale?
objective? You're asking me, Senator, to completely make a rush to judgment about somebody failing. I acknowledge this was a failure of the
Is it
Secret
not
Service.
prima facie that somebody has failed? A former president was shot.
Sir, this could have been our Texas school book depository. I have lost sleep over that for the last 17 days,
Then
just like you
fire
have.
somebody to
and I will
hold them
tell you,
accountable.
Senator, I will tell you, Senator, that I will not rush to judgment, that people will be held accountable, and I will do so with integrity and not rush to judgment and put people
I can't believe
unfairly
that you
persecuted.
are unfairly persecuted.
Unfairly,
We've got people
sir,
who are
we
dead.
have to be able to have a proper investigation into this, Senator.
You said earlier that you've got to make sure that your protocols are followed, and unless there's a protocol violation, people wouldn't be disciplined. I would just say to you, I don't really care that much about your protocols. I think if your protocols don't provide for the fact that when a former president is shot, when an American is killed, when other rally-goers, innocent people who just showed up on the day, when they are shot at and critically wounded, if that isn't a protocol violation prima facie, you should revise your protocols.
Senator, I think this is where you and I agree. This was a failure, and we will get to the bottom of it.
Well, I hope you're going to do something about it. Let me ask you something else. The Real Clear Politics reports this morning that you were directly involved in denying additional security resources and personnel, including counter snipers, not just to this event, but over the last 2 years that President Trump's team repeatedly asked for these additional resources, and you personally were involved in denying them. Is that true?
Senator, as I stated earlier, that is not true.
So you never denied any resources to former President Trump's team?
No, not me. No, sir.
And you weren't involved in any of that? You were never involved in the decision making?
No, sir, I was not.
Let me ask you just one or two other things here quickly. Well, whistleblowers tell me that, in fact, law enforcement were stationed to be on that roof and that law enforcement abandoned their post because it was too hot. Is that accurate?
Senator, I have heard that as well.
You can pause this right now. I mean, you see Josh Hawley's pushing him. By the way, another story comes out right after this. Talking about the fact that Secret Service sniper warns another assassination attempt could be imminent as agency's failures are exposed. We all should expect another attempt to happen before November. We've exposed our inability to protect our leaders due to our leadership, warns Secret Service sniper in letter, adding this agency needs to change. If not now, when? The next assassination attempt in 30 days. Veteran agent criticized supervisors. Sadly, we have fallen short for years. Is this it, Rob?
Yep.
Sadly, we have fallen short for years. We just got lucky and look good doing it. I have conveyed these thoughts to not only our supervisors, only to be brushed off as those with less experience somehow knew more than me, describing in July 13 attack as a stain I will never be able to cleanse. Security failures expose a full 30-second lapse between when local police officers confronted Gunman Thomas Crooks and the first shot fired at Trump, local cops encircling the building he shot from more than 2 minutes before the attack. Vinny, when you hear stuff like this, you're hearing Josh Hawley, you're hearing the director of Secret Service, what are you thinking?
My opinion is that, listen, incompetence we talked about, gross negligence, whatever you want to call it. If, God forbid, Trump was killed, we'd be in the same exact place. He'd be in the same spot. Kim Cheetah would be, she'd step down, Pat. She wouldn't go to prison. We'd be exactly where we are. And when we have a whistleblower coming out, by the way, this guy's on the inside. He is a Secret Service member saying he will not stop until the 5 high-level supervisors are all gone. You know what that means? He doesn't trust any of them because apparently to me, I take it as if they have maybe some bias against the president. To have that type of failure is absolutely unbelievable. And for him to say that it might happen again before November, that should scare the hell out of everybody, including Donald Trump. Like, and he's still doing these. He just went to PA. He was there yesterday. And I get it. You want to show the force, but I mean, come on. When they're telling you, listen, you're not secure. The head of the Secret Service, I mean, people in there are not securing you. Like, what are we talking about? And the talk about denial, RFK just got it. They just gave a guy whose father and uncle was murdered, and now they're like, okay, since this guy was almost killed, we're going to give it to you. It's unbelievable.
And the Biden administration took credit for the decision over Mayorkas to give protection to RFK Jr. So I look at it this way. You know, this is where whistleblowers need to be protected. And usually the authority over them, you know, has the power of their paycheck and their livelihood. And so I think this whistleblower should be, you know, pulled out of the Secret Service, you know, given the opportunity to cooperate in exchange for their full pension, and then put in front of the investigative committee so they could testify and prove all the stuff. Because remember, sometimes whistleblowers just have a few words. Other time whistleblowers have emails, dates, descriptions, conversations, text messages. So if this whistleblower is not just sending some, you know, crazy email, if they really have it, then say, guess what? Here's your subpoena. You're going to be before Congress. We are securing your pension and your whistleblower protection. Come on and testify. Now you can get a real investigation going. You see where I'm going here?
And let me ask you a question, Tom, if you don't mind, Pat.
And if there's 5 people in there, let's get them named.
But Tom, and I can understand, because think about this. If whistleblowers felt safe enough to come forward to not worry about, you know, prison or, you know, getting arrested, you know, losing their job.
No, whistleblowers worry. It's not the mob. Whistleblowers worry about livelihood most of the time in corporate America.
Yeah, 100%.
Unless you're reporting Boeing defects, and then you could, you know, accidentally suffocate yourself in a car. But for the most part, whistleblowers are concerned about their livelihoods.
But so going to my point,
and the ability to support their family.
Shouldn't there be an organization, like I'm talking about, like a legitimate, prominent organization that has something set up for whistleblowers that obviously, like people, obviously, you have to pay for?
We do. It's called FBI Witness Protection, and it's also called congressional committees.
Tom, I wouldn't trust the FBI at all. At this point, at all.
Get it.
I'm saying an independent place. Pat, think about this: an independent organization that, you know, we fund, and where if you come up, Adam, and you're a credible whistleblower, we fact check, we do a background, by the way, you could prevent an assassination attempt on the president of the United States. We'll take care of you. The fund will take care of you to get you back on your feet, because we need to hear this. Imagine the people, Tom, that knew the security failure, and we're hearing it right now. If they had come out earlier and said, hey guys, at this event, do not let President Trump go up. They're failing to put snipers on this roof. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. We already have a patsy. I'd want to know that beforehand as a whistleblower, and to know that I'd be protected monetarily, my future, if I did it.
Well, that's the line of conspiracy that gets really, really sticky. On one hand, do you say, did the Secret Service, through incompetence and lack of good oversight, just absolutely fumble on what's happened? Is that it? That's possible. That's very possible. That, guess what? There weren't 10 shooters. There weren't all this stuff. This is what happened.
By the way, let me show you
On
this.
the other hand, did they intentionally enable it? That is the Rubicon.
Yeah. Let me show you guys. This is the first time Trump's done this, and Gateway Pundit showed this. Yesterday, Trump retweeted, or they call it retruth, this picture right here. What did you know? And when did you know about it? Mm-hmm. If you want to know who ordered the assassination attempt, he says, if you want to know who ordered the assassination attempt, he's blaming Ray. Oh. Okay. Did you hear this?
Yep.
So he's blaming Ray's. You can't see what it's saying below it because that picture is covering it.
Well, there we go.
The FBI director, Christopher Wray.
The FBI director
appointed.
That Trump appointed. So if you want to know who ordered the assassination of Donald J. Trump. So now, Trump goes here yesterday. This is like, I mean, you know this claim. I mean, he stayed pretty not going to speculation.
He's been neutral. Big
He's been neutral. But he just went there for the first time yesterday, and they reported on it. Adam.
No, literally, this is where I was going with this. So the conversation I would want to have with you guys is this Josh Hawley and the acting Secret Service Director, Ronald Rowe, is this a conversation that's a net positive or a net negative for society? The conversation that they're having, is it a net positive or net negative?
I think it's positive for sure.
I fully agree with you. Because my opinion is that conversation right there is what makes America great. So, you know, the famous quote, sunlight is the best disinfectant. This is actually what we need. And they said a few buzzwords that we actually need this discussion because we need accountability and we need transparency. Sunlight is the greatest disinfectant. He said this was a colossal failure and we need to get to the bottom of it. And the acting Secret Service literally almost choked up. Did you notice that? Like, he got very emotional.
Yeah, I saw it.
If you're testifying in Congress and you choke up, I don't think this guy's a professional actor. I was like, oh my God. By the way, he's the acting director. Kimberly Cheeto was just, stepped down, 3 days ago, 5 days ago, whatever the number was. This is what makes America great. Why? We just talked about Putin. You think they're having this conversation in Russia when Navalny ends up dead? No, it's just yesterday's news. Or the guy that got shot down, what was his name? Whatever his name was, the guy that ran the Wagner group. He's not even a discussion anymore. Gone, dead. You think they're having this conversation in Venezuela with Maduro? You think she's having this conversation? You think the Ayatollahs are having this conversation? This is what makes America great. Democracy is ugly, but at least we get to see it and there's transparency right there. Last point, to bring it back home to what Pat said, the Warren Commission, you brought this up the other day, Tom. The Warren Commission was basically to get to the bottom of who the hell killed JFK, right? This is the Warren Commission, but with JFK alive, being Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You don't think he has some vested interest in finding out the truth? Who tried to shoot him in the face?
Yeah, but
exactly.
But when you say we want to get to the bottom of it, Adam, people have to realize, though, we've been trying to get to the bottom of the JFK assassination since 1963. There's still documents that we can't see because it would ruin the CIA and ruin the FBI. So this type of thing, it just frustrates the average American like me because we know this isn't going to lead to anything, because how many hearings, how many Fauci hearings, how many do we have to hear as Americans where we are basically controlled opposition? We go, yell at Fauci. And then what, Adam? The guy's walking around with Secret Service protection. So people like me, the angry patriot, I'm angry, I'm frustrated because this is happening and we love it. Hold his foot to the fire. And then what?
But here's my point.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but here's where you're actually wrong.
Go ahead.
Because if Trump actually gets elected, you don't think he's going to have some vested interest in the one word you're talking about? Accountability. So if Trump gets elected and he's like, all right, let's figure out who tried to kill me, you don't think he's going to try to figure that out? Do you think the presidents know who killed JFK? Do you think they actually?
Sure. I think Donald Trump knows. He saw all the documents.
You think Obama knows? You think Biden knows?
Sure. Biden doesn't know anything. But going back to my point is Trump, Adam, whoever these guys, the reason that they want Trump gone, period, killed, whatever the hell they want, because he's going to release what you said.
But be careful what you're saying, Vin,
what?
Because if you're saying that every president knows, that means you're saying that every single president, Republican, Democrat, is lying to you.
They all lie. That we're all these politicians.
By the way, if they're part of the establishment, yes, of course. If they're part of the establishment, absolutely, they do.
What about Trump, though?
He knows.
So what's the? If they're part of the establishment, they're not going to give the answer. By the way, question for you: what's your percentage, Tom, of the fact that there's going to be another assassination attempt between now and November 5th?
Great question.
What's your percentage? Where are you at?
I am nervously 50-50.
Okay.
No, I'm serious. I'm nervously 50-50. Because when you get everybody revved up and you say these kind of things in the media, you enable weak-minded lone wolves. And I'm really worried. So I'm nervously 50-50.
I'm at 70-30, and you know why? Because the reason they have to stop him, Pat. He has, Adam, you nailed it. All the documents, all the crossfire, and you said it, the year of investigation, the moment he gets in, it's retribution time. And that's what they're petrified. Obama, all of them, they all spied. He's going to go after everybody. 70-30.
Adam.
Well, the likelihood that somebody is going to try to do something, very high. In the 80s, 90s, whether it's going to happen, I would hope that it's very low. You know, Trump, he was given the opportunity to basically say, yeah, no more outdoor rallies. He's like, no, I'm going to do it. So you're dealing with a guy who's basically saying, yeah, I don't care what you want me to do. Step your game up. I literally believe those were his words, like, do better. So outdoor rallies, indoor rallies, they better come full protection mode, because there's no doubt some people don't want to see this guy to become the president.
Where you at?
What's your number, PBD?
I'm at 5 to 10% was where I'm at. And by the way, that they'll actually pull it off and succeed at it. I do think there's going to be some very weird things happening that we never thought about that could be out of control of him, for them to spin it and say, oh my God, that is so terrible. And how this took place. And we were, you know, this is so devastating. But because of this, we have to go to XYZ, and this is what's going to be, because they can't play this again the next 4 months. They cannot. If they do it, I mean, that's audacity if they do it. If they do it, that's a lot of audacity for them. And in regards to Trump still going out, that's why he's got the loyal following that he has. Yes. Because he's got the brass to go out when you tell him and say, wait, you want me to play scared? You want me to play for what they want me to do? You want me to be like, yeah, I'm going to be in the basement like the previous guy that was so scared hiding? I'm not that guy. You voted for me because I'm getting out there talking to people, and that's why he gets the followership that he does.
I have to push back on that.
You can.
I agree with you.
Yeah, you can.
But we talked about this Tuesday. Trump doesn't need to go do those rallies, because what percentage of people that show up to those rallies are already voting for Trump? 99.999. They're voting for him. He's preaching to the choir. And listen, this is how he made his brand. He probably loves it, right? He doesn't do this because he loves it. Yeah. And I get that. But you're not in the preaching to the choir business anymore, Trump. You are now in the conversion business. So how are you going to convert people? Because right now, Trump's ceiling and floor is 42%, 44%, 40%. How are you going to get to 50%? How are you going to get the independents? How are you going to get the women? How are you going to get... That's what he needs to do. So the rallies are great. I love it. I understand. But you're getting exposed, maybe getting shot. Yeah. But you're not converting anybody at that rally.
He's not going to stop doing that. A part of that strategy of converting is not to convert, is for the American people to compare. That's why you do the rallies. You know, this transitions perfectly into this next story that I'll read to you from Jamie Dimon. Okay, Rob, if you want to pull this up, I'll just read the article. Literally, I'm going to read the article to you, and this tells you exactly why he's going to continue. Story comes out yesterday. JPMorgan CEO Jamie Dimon says business travel is essential for leaders who don't want to fail. Okay. Who don't want to fail. Rob, if you want to go, I just want to go through it. Business travel, long-time vital part of a CEO's job. He is the CEO of America. Is rebounding for pre-pandemic norms despite the increase on and for one good reason. JPMorgan, who admits he's constantly on the road because executives must prioritize face-to-face interactions with their employees, customers, and clients. You can say you can replace those words if you go to the top again. Face-to-face interactions with their voters.
Bingo.
With their base. Okay, go to the next one. All right, leaders have to get out. They have to get out all the time. They have to be curious, ask a million questions. He recently said on LinkedIn, this is working series. Corporate travel, according to Dimon, also allows leaders to identify and learn from competitors about their company's market position, as well as clients' need and criticism. I always tell a client, when you complain to us, you're doing us a favor. If we're torturing you, we're probably torturing another 10,000 or 100,000 people, right? Meaning if you're not happy with us, we're probably doing it to others as well. The banking chief swatted away the excuse from any leader who thinks they're too busy to leave their desks or maybe just work 10 to 4. If you know anybody that only works 10 to 4. Or maybe even somebody that has never visited the border, but she's also never visited Europe. I mean, what's the big deal, right? They're making a huge mistake. If you don't have an accurate assessment of the real world out there, what's changing, what they're doing, what the ideas are, you will eventually fail. Companies with such leaders become stagnant, bureaucratic, and complacent. The opposite of those attributes, said the Wall Street Titan, is curiosity, grit, and heart. Who do you think about when you think about those three? Curiosity, grit, and heart. Reminds me of somebody that's running for office. He cited the bank's venture into AI around 2012. That year, he sent his top consumer banking team to China and set up meetings with a major companies, including Ping An, WeChat, Tencent, and Alibaba. You can imagine how it opens their eyes, said Dimon. They didn't realize what's going on over there in terms of super apps, and so it changes your own ability of what you can do here. The CEO said he's often amazed by how many leaders lack a realistic assessment of what's going on beyond their limited scope in both the public and the private sector. This leads to creation of poor policies. Again, that's politics to me. Complacency in politics is the petri dish of death. And the antidote to that is that you're always learning, always curious. I mean, I can continue reading this article. This is what he is doing, going out there. Imagine he's sitting there saying, oh my God, you know, by the way, during the pandemic, during the last 4 years, how many banks did Chase pick up? How many banks did Chase buy? Where does Chase rank as the safest bank right now worldwide to have your money in? You know, what did Chase do? How many deals did they do? How many companies did they buy? This is the part of Trump where he's out there shaking hands, talking to people, and you have to sit on the opposite side and see if the other person is doing it or not. By the way, you know who Trump is thinking about for his type in Donald Trump and then type in Jamie Dimon. Type in Donald Trump, Jamie Dimon, zoom in. Jamie Dimon is being considered for the Treasury Secretary, but now says he doesn't know who said that. Of course, he's supposed to say he doesn't know who said that. Yeah. But imagine this. They don't have to agree politically with each other, but there's a lot in common there. Tom, what do you think about this story with Jamie Dimon and him talking about leaders working?
Well, Jamie Dimon has always been the leader of leaders in the banking community. When you look at where JPMorgan Chase is and you drop down to B of A and Goldman and everybody else, there is a huge drop from first to second. And you're correct. Dimon has put Chase in position. Everybody's always being opportunistic so he can grow. Well, he's also picking up failed banks that are protecting the customers of those banks, where you can say, but in being a capitalist, is he saving that bank and the services that are going to the businesses and people there? Sure he is. But I think he's absolutely right. You know, if I may, we were in, I won't say the name unless you want to say the name. Pat and I were in New York with one of the 4 senior leaders of the U.S. banking industry, and he said they expect their people to show up, be with each other, be with the customers, and have commitment and grit. It was the same list, and people talking about coming together. But I think this is Dimon showing leadership. I think he's showing his superior management and how he's grown it. And I think he's also showing why, if he ends up being Treasury Secretary, you know, there's a lot of people going to say, oh, he's going to favor Chase and everything. But you go take a look. I think he would be one of the very strong candidates to do that and do it right for the benefit of the American economy.
Adam.
So do I agree with Jamie Dimon? Yeah, you betcha. And there's a lot of lessons that I've learned from PBD and what you've done, especially with the Lincoln on leadership, basically circulating the troops. We learned this during COVID. You know, what companies boomed during COVID and what companies fell. Where's Zoom stock these days? Because I don't know if you could pull that up. I doubt it looks as good as it was in 2020. Zoom. It's probably plummeted. But I think we've all understand the necessity of being around people and touching people. I mean, kudos to you. I mean, we're about to do the vault in a month. That's because we want to be around thousands of our fans and friends and colleagues, everything like that. Everything you do with the SLS, everything you do with the business planning workshop, everything you do with the live events. We want to be in the same room. Totally understand that. You know, where it comes to Trump, and this is where we kind of were talking about in the last segment, is there is a difference between home games and away games. Home games are easy, man. You're playing in front of your crowd. That's what a Trump rally is. You got to give Trump credit. He'll go play away games. And that's the toughest thing to do. How do you win on the road? You don't see Biden doing the away game thing. Kamala, she's going on RuPaul doing her thing. Good luck going on Fox News, Kamala. Trump will show up to CNN. He'll show up to MSNBC. He'll show up to, what was the thing he just argued with? The black journalists conference, whatever it was.
That's exactly where we're going to next.
So you got to respect that. I don't know any Democrat out there other than Bernie Sanders that will show up anywhere. So let's see if Kamala has the chutzpah, as they say, to show up on, thank you, to show up on away games. And that's the difference.
But Rob, why don't you pull that up, actually? National Association of Black Journalists. And he's there, and the lady starts off with this question. And if you haven't already seen this, I'll let you react to it. Go for it, Rob.
Watch him reaction.
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner, a first question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Yeah. Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network.
Good, he's back.
And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina.
Okay.
He's back.
That's where it ended?
Rob, is there another clip you got? Do you have the water bottle clip? Anyways, play a different clip if you got them. We'll get to the water bottle clip.
I love it.
This one is also one that has been all over Twitter. This is where Trump talks about Kamala Harris and her ethnicity.
That's right. Go for it.
Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition of
Sir,
that.
I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me, if you
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn, and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that
I think somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
really don't
have said?
know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be.
All right, I got so much to say on this.
But do you guys realize that he is back? And you talked about it on Jesse Waters. This guy's been chill. He's been whatever. But they tried to kill him, and he still stayed calm. Now this is the old Donald Trump. He was cool, collected, and did you see how bitter and angry and like she was drooling for this moment to just try to get him? But you can't play with the ultimate troll. What are you gonna say, Rob?
Well, and to the point, the journalist says that Kamala Harris has always identified herself as a black woman. But here's a clip. I'll just play it.
Yeah, this is the press.
Tom, rewind, please. Go back a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to cook today is an Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because you are Indian.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know that everybody knows that, but I find that wherever I go and I see Indian people at the supermarket, on the street, everyone's like, you know, Kamala Harris is Indian, right? It's like the thing we're so excited about to have you running for president.
Yeah.
So we're both Indian,
Yes.
but actually we're both South Indian.
Yes. You look like the entire one half of my family.
Okay, thank you.
You do.
I've been telling people
You
we're
do.
related already,
Yeah.
so this is perfect. It's basically true. And so, were you raised eating South Indian food?
South Indian food.
Isn't that weird though? Isn't it weird that she's been Indian this whole time, but now because she knows that the black vote's so important, they have to bring Megan Thee Stallion on a stage to twerk in Atlanta in front of thousands of people, and the moment Kamala started talking, people started leaving.
Yeah, and this is, I'm sorry I interrupted the first 2 seconds of that clip. But the point simply is, the media is testifying and gaslighting for Harris. Trump has to beat Harris and the entire media it's the Hillary election all over again, and this is what he's up against.
You know, the biggest difference is it's not just a white woman; it is now a woman of color. So, you know, Pat, she said it right there. She's half Indian, half black,
Jamaican. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Just like Pat is half Assyrian, half Armenian, but he's born in Iran. It's a complicated mix.
Yeah.
You're 100% Assyrian, but your family's from where?
Iran.
So you're Persian. Tom's white, but his family's from Canada apparently, but he's American. We're all a mix of something. Okay, so
nationalist.
But so here's my question to Trump, and it's basically the same conversation we have. That conversation right there, respect to Trump, straight up. He's going to play away games. He's on the road in a hostile environment. We just talked about this. Here's my question. Is that conversation right there, think about it, who's that converting? Did he convert anybody? Did he bring more people to his side? If the answer is yes, then keep doing that, bro. If the answer is no, I would ask you to maybe rethink your approach, because I'm such in a great place on Trump right now, where me personally, where I wasn't in the Trump camp, obviously, but I've seen this slow progression of what's happened in the Democratic Party, and it literally disgusts me. You know, because they're trying to paint Trump right now as the you know, playing the identity politics. You're playing the color game. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen of the Democratic Party, you are the kings and queens, yes, queen of identity politics. So don't play that game like, you know, you're Megan Thee Stallion or the homegirl, the Indian girl right there, the actress that was on The Office. You're the kings and queens of identity politics. So he's playing your game. And by the way, Trump did say all those things. That's fine.
Yeah,
I did say those things. But you have to give him respect for going to play away games, just like how you gave advice to Trump the other day. My only piece of advice is, are you converting people or are you basically pushing people away? That's what he needs to think
And
about.
last point, Pat, just being Jamaican. Mike sent this to me because Mike's Jamaican. Jamaican isn't African American. I hope people all understand that.
Everyone knows that because they're Jamaican.
No,
They're
not everybody.
American.
They have two different histories. So her playing this whole black card, it's not.
Vinny,
she's I know
a white Jewish guy and a Syrian guy having this conversation is a little ironic.
It's funny,
but the Jamaicans, whether you want to, they're black.
Yeah, of course. But
okay,
they're not African American.
Correct.
Okay,
but she's saying black.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Yeah, right there. It says someone who was born in Jamaica and lives in U.S. might identify as black, but not African American.
Yes,
yeah,
because they're not from Africa.
By the way,
they're from
this
the
whole
Caribbean.
story comes out about Kamala Harris is having the best week of. Where's that story at? Where her popularity, Harris.
Polling bounce.
Yeah,
Big
the
week.
polling bounce that she had. Not bouncing on a poll, just like polling bounce that she had where it's a increase. My English is always off a little bit here and there. So Kamala Harris's popularity reaches
before nouns.
record high. Rob, can you play the clip I just sent to you, Rob? Play the clip I just sent to you because they're telling us she's the greatest of all time and how amazing of a VP was. And this is mainstream media pre her being the presidential candidate. Go ahead, Rob.
Reports that say that you have the lowest approval rating of any vice president.
Well, there are polls that also say I have great approval ratings.
Swing voters don't like Harris. How big a drag is Kamala Harris on the ticket?
She's a pretty big drag. I think she was arguably Biden's worst political decision.
They don't like her. There's lots of reasons they don't like her.
Kamala Harris's approval rating is now at 28%, which is an historic low for any modern vice president.
We're hearing it from mainstream media, one outlet after another, one leak after another. That Kamala Harris is the worst vice president ever, the worst politician ever.
We don't see the vice president. What people are saying to me, and I'm sure they're saying it to you, where's the vice president? Some White House officials are feeling that she came off looking unprepared for inevitable questions about when she might visit the southern border.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
The point that Lester Holt was making was obvious to anyone else who was watching this interview, which is that the issues at the border are inextricably linked with the portfolio that she's been given.
The border is secure. We have a secure border.
Bidenomics is working. Prices have gone up. And families and individuals are dealing with the realities of.
There are reports that say that you have the lowest.
But by the way, did you see the video of what she said, Rob? I don't know if you guys saw this or not. What she said yesterday. She said, Trump's the reason the border is problematic, but if you vote for me, I will fix the border.
She didn't say that.
Are you guys joking? You didn't see this?
No.
Tell me you're joking. Hang on.
Carrying water.
Rob, do me a favor and play this clip. This is what she just said, and let me see exactly when it was. 7:30. 7:30 is what? 2 days ago. She just said this. When you see this clip, your angry patriot side's about to come out.
I
so
think
just
you're
watch it.
I still think you're absolutely.
I'm telling you,
trolling.
watch this.
We're
Go
about
ahead.
to sell some shirts.
Watch this. Hang on. Watch. No, rewind. I want him to hear it. Tom, say nothing, Tom. Just listen. Go ahead.
Donald Trump does not care about border security. He only cares about himself. And when I am president, I will work to actually solve the problem.
This is real? Is this real?
Yeah. So here is my pledge to you. Donald.
She says
it's so absurd. It's so absurd.
Hold on. She's the border czar. You're the emperor of the border.
I know she wasn't. She was not the border czar. She was never the border czar.
Yeah, yes,
the media has been doing that for a week.
I still think, by the way, it's sad that I have to look to make sure this isn't AI generated, but none of our people believe that. There's no way you believe that.
Look, the media is gaslighting, and the media is carrying water for her. As I keep saying it, and over again. And guess what? What did Hillary do over and over again? Pick an issue, accuse the other person of what you're doing, and take credit for the fix.
Exactly. You know who said that? Do you know who said that a long time ago?
Pelosi?
Rob, I want you to pull this up.
Was it the schmear?
No.
Let him go. Keep
I'm going to show you who said exactly what Tom just said. Said that a long time ago, Rob. Post that quote up there. Post that quote up there. This is, zoom in. Accuse the other side of that which you are guilty. Joseph Goebbels, Nazi propaganda minister.
Yeah, oh boy! Wow, so great playbook.
They're saying that the other side, Trump is the reason for messing up the border. And by the way, this is all you have to ask yourself: how many people will that work on?
Oh, not so many.
No, hear me out. No, hear me out. It's actually very important to ask this question.
It's huge.
The amount of people, like right there, the people that she's talking to, how many people, no matter what she says, will sit there and say she's right? How many people
in that audience?
40,
in Atlanta,
42 to 44%. The core.
No. The audience in Atlanta,
85, 90.
I'm going to say even more than that, right? That's going to believe her. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But go to the people who are the audience that the vote matters to. How many of them, of the independents, who are educated people, who have watched what she's done, who are Democrats, will sit there and say, oh, listen, honey, we're going to vote for her, but she's so full of shit.
Yeah.
How many people say that? How many people actually sitting there saying, what's she talking about? Everybody knows you're the reason why the border sucks. What do you think, Tom?
Well, I tell you, I have facts behind this, not opinion. What's very interesting, in the polling bounce, I've been doing research on polling bounce, and in Arizona, when they started asking people, what are your top 3 issues? All of them, independent, Democrat, Republican, Arizona, had the same 3 issues in the same order: immigration, economy, women's rights, in the same order. Why? Immigration, number 1. The intensity of the response from all voters in Arizona on immigration was like at an 8 out of 10 on the intensity scale. Why? It's live, living, and it's in their front yard. You don't have to be a Democrat or a Republican to see the homeless people and to see the immigrants walking around and making you not feel safe in Arizona. You see that? So it's number 1 for all voters in Arizona saying, hey, this is messed up. We can't have this. Doesn't matter political party. Now you go to Missouri, guess what the intensity level was? The intensity level was like 2.5 to 3. Why? Because immigrants aren't going around Missouri, and it becomes a theoretical argument between me, a Democrat, let's say, and you, a Republican. We're just yelling and screaming at each other. So what has happened, there are places, PBD, where it doesn't matter what she say. If she gave that speech in Arizona, everybody in the audience would say, dude, come on, Kamala, the immigration is a huge problem here. You're just talking. And they're not going to believe that. But that's just Arizona. The rest of the places, you could have 90% of the people in Georgia going, yeah, go.
I'll give you a little feedback here. So in storytelling and in comedy, there is a universal theme that transcends and works, and is called the art of the callback. Vinny, you would know this. When you say something up front, and then you do your act, and then you bring up that story back. Oh my God, it came out of nowhere. Now, here's my thing. What's Trump's callback gonna be? I'll tell you what it is, and it's so obvious to me. What was the map or the graph that he was showing when he got shot? What was it?
Immigration.
Oh my God. We can show that, Rob.
Random.
He brought that graph up at his speech of the RNC. Do you remember that? And he gave like a, look at this map. I love this graph. It's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. That is going to be a common theme he's going to bring up. Now, if he's on the debate stage with Kamala, you don't think that graph is coming back up? Yeah. Here it is right here.
Yeah.
Hey, Kamala.
Look how many graphs are on there.
Hey, Kamala, listen, baby. DEI, MEI, whatever you are.
Yeah.
You are this graph, girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the reason I'm doing this graph. You're the borders are. No matter how much the mainstream media is trying to whitewash or blackwash what her job was as the borders are, we all know that it was her job to go visit the border, which she didn't do. So don't be surprised when Trump busts out this graph the billionth time.
But no, Adam, great point. But what I think the point that he's trying to make is how many people that still kind of know this are going to go, I don't care as long as it's not Trump. Because this, by the way, she's running on, I'm not Trump. Anything but Trump. And Rob, speaking of that chart, can you show that video? Is it all right, Pat? The video of the girl. Trump yesterday brought up the girl that put up the chart that made him look, and he basically said that it saved his life. And he's like, I love that girl. She's a smart. He called her like a computer. He goes, is this it, Rob?
It is. Let me fast forward to where he brings on stage.
Like he's like, where's that chart? I love that chart. Dude, look at all the people back there.
That chart.
What I tell you?
I'm going to sleep with that chart for the rest of my life. That chart.
Oh.
You know, the amazing thing, the people that operate the computers and all the brilliant equipment we have backstage. She said to me, she's great. She's great. She should come out. Just tell her to come out here for a second. Quick. You got to get her out. She's never done this before. She saved my life, in a sense. I said, you saved my life. Here she is.
Look at it.
Wow.
One chart saved Donald Trump. He kisses her hair. Kisses her hair.
Don't do a Biden.
Look, kisses her again. Hold on. You got to bring it in for the real thing. Okay, kiss your hair. And then look at
Hi.
And that's it.
Okay. This is Donald Trump.
Computer genius. She puts up a chart. Yes. She's a genius.
But this is Donald Trump at his best.
I love him.
This is my point of the conversion thing. When he's doing the angry, condescending, the black thing, whatever, he's not winning people over. The chart, Donald J. Trump, use the chart, bring the girl out, give her a kiss, do that, you will win.
Yeah.
If you're being angry and you're arguing with black journalists, it's not a good look.
But here's my question though, Adam. I understand 100% with the chart, but when he's sitting there and they're going there with him, he has to punch back. You know that when they go low, we go high. No. When they go low, you fight fire with fire. And I get it, but he can't bow down to that type of stuff and be like, well, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll tell my Republican base never to use DEI. We know she was hired exactly that because Biden has consistently said, I hired this person because I said I was going to hire a black woman. That's it. Period.
We know that.
Next story. Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh killed in Tehran as Iran vows revenge against Israel. Here we go. As if we don't have enough issues, we have to have another vengeance taking place here with Iran and Israel. Will they do anything is the real question. Let me continue. So Hamas leader Ismail assassinated in Tehran after attending the inauguration of Iran's new president. Hamas announced no one immediately claimed responsibility, but suspicion fell on Israel, which has vowed to kill Haniyeh and other Hamas leaders over the October 7th attack on Israel that killed 1,200 people and took 250 hostages. Hamas blamed Israel for the killing, with Iran vowing a harsh and painful response. Israel carried out a rare strike on Beirut, killing top Hezbollah commander Fouad Shakur No relation to Tupac. Israel Defense Minister Yoav Gallant warned that Israel could take Lebanon back to the Stone Age, but stated, we don't want to do it. Cross-border attacks between Israel and Lebanon have intensified since the Hamas-led attack on Israel. The assassination on Haniyeh and Shakur could lead to significant regional escalation, with intentional leaders calling for de-escalation to prevent a broader conflict. Adam.
Man, this week officially, you have to ask yourself, are we now closer to a regional war or further away from a regional war? I'll let you guys answer that. I would say that these killings of leaders, as appropriate as they may be, has brought the region, I use that word specifically, the region the closest to a regional war that we've been since October 7th. So let me give you a little context here. Who are they killing? So after October 7th, Benjamin Netanyahu and Israeli leadership vowed to do one thing. What was that one thing? They're going to eliminate every single person that helped plan and coordinate October 7th. The only thing that you need to think about is October 7th to Israel is our 9/11. Just digest that for a second. So they went after this guy, Ismail Haniyeh. Now, who is he? He is the political leader of Hamas. So they killed 3 people this month. Major people. By the way, they killed him. Do you know where they killed this guy? In Tehran.
Yeah, that's
not in Gaza, not in the West Bank. He was in Tehran. So there's a message there, what I'll tell you in a second. They also killed the Hezbollah military commander. Your boy Tupac was Shakur, Fuad Shakur. They killed him in Beirut, so the capital of Lebanon, Beirut, the capital of Iran, Tehran. And they also killed, this is another thing that just came out in the Wall Street Journal, the Hamas top military leader, which his name is Mohammed Deif. Now, there's another guy called Yahya Sinwar that they still need to go after. By the way, all these guys, they're on the U.S. terror watch list. Like, these aren't good dudes. Say what you will. So there's builders, and then there's destroyers. These guys don't build anything. Their goal is to destroy. And who are they looking to destroy? They're looking to destroy Israel. They're looking to destroy America. They're looking to destroy American values. So Ismail Haniyeh, now this is something that you'll probably resonate with you. Where did this guy become famous? Have you ever heard his name before?
Which guy?
Ishmael Haniyeh. You can show his face.
The Ishmael guy? I still don't even remember.
Just show his face. So I want to get your opinion on this, and then
okay.
Ishmael Haniyeh, this guy right here. Why did he become famous? Was he in Borat? He was not in Borat. Yeah. Bombastic, threatening, saying wild things. He's been the face of Hamas for decades.
Okay.
The political face.
And this picture is the before the assassination, right?
Thank you, Tom. The Comedy Act coming soon. So, do you remember in 1983? You probably don't remember this. There was a bombing of a U.S. base in Beirut, Lebanon.
I remember, but I wasn't.
Do you remember this?
Young.
Of course.
Yeah, over 200 soldiers died. It was a barracks, and yeah.
Correct. Thank you, Tom. So he planned that. Mm-hmm. That was him. So you know how they say forgive, don't forget? They didn't forgive or forget this guy. And you know who didn't forget? The U.S. as well. Mm-hmm. He killed 200 American service people.
Yep.
So this is who this guy is. So you ask the question, like, why is Israel so aligned with America? Because this is who they're going after right here. So this is the message that Israel and the Mossad and Netanyahu, by the way, did you see the video that Netanyahu did after this killing? I can send it to you in a second. Basically, he's like, I'm James Bond, is what he said. Here's the message that they're sending to the Hamas leadership and these Iranian proxies. You ready? Whether it's Hezbollah, yeah, this right here. Whether it's Hezbollah, whether it's Hamas, whether the Houthis. We're going to find you and we're going to get you no matter where you are. You can be in the capital of Tehran, we're going to get you. You could be in the capital of Lebanon, we're going to get you. And that is their goal. They stated that goal. They're going to go after every single planner that planned October 7th. And they're doing that.
But you know what sucks, though? Every single one of those people that you named that died, the very next hour, somebody else stepped up and took their spot. Like, it's not like that vacancy stays open. Like that, and I get it, Adam. Good for them. They deserve to die, and let God judge them, and that's going to be their calling. But you know what? The moment these guys went, the number 2 guy just became the number 1 guy, and that cycle will never stop, and it will keep going. And it's a sad thing, but it's reality.
Great point. And this is the constant game of whack-a-mole that you're playing.
Yeah.
But the question is, are you just gonna not? So that's like saying, hey, I use the 9/11 analogy. We got to go get bin Laden. So what are we going to say? No, don't go get bin Laden, because once we kill him, there's going to be someone else that pops up.
No, I'm just being realistic.
What message does that send that you don't kill the attackers of 9/11?
No, I'm saying kill it. No, you're mistaking my point. My point is, it just sucks. We killed. Congratulations. We're happy for the moment. That does not stop. That terrorist organization, those cells, they just next guy up.
But look, you kill Trump, someone else is going to fill his. That's life.
Yeah.
Someone's going to fill that vacuum. But they're not playing. Is this the Netanyahu video where he compares himself to James Bond? Go ahead.
ראית שמשווים אותך לג'יימס בונד? מה פתאום ג'יימס בונד? נתניהו. בנימין נתניהו.
So
what did he say?
He basically, instead of saying Bond, James Bond, he's saying Netanyahu.
Yeah.
Bibi Netanyahu. Look, that's marketing, whether you agree with it or not. That's kind of where he's going. By the way, his approval ratings in Israel, 32%, but now they've gone up a little bit since they've gone after this. But it's not like he's beloved at this point.
Yeah.
You know, I made the analogy that he's the Trump of Israel. He has his base, his 30, 35%, 40% base. I don't know if he's going to win the next election, if there is one. But this is the reality of what's going on in the Middle East right now.
Vinny.
No, I'm just like, my point just being that, I mean, good. Who isn't happy when terrorists are murdered, especially innocent lives that were called, and fellow servicemen. But I think dude, that idea that terrorism, that war on terror, it'll never stop. There's no face. Of
course.
It just keeps, and
it's like the war on drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's never going to stop.
It's going to keep going, and it's just horrible.
Well, if you sit back and say, you know, this reminds me, I can't get around fatalistic and concessionary thinking. It's like saying, just let your kids have, you know, drink, party, have sex, do whatever they want to do in college because they're going to do it anyway. No. You got to stand up and show some leadership at times. And it's painful. And the sausage making of international leadership when people are bloodthirsty.
What?
The correlation between the two with the sausage making, but
unbelievable, Tom.
No, and to international diplomacy, international foreign policy, and responding to really bad people is an ugly, gruesome thing. But if nobody stands up to show the leadership to do something about it, which includes brokering peace, protecting the innocent, and being really tough on those that are the bad actors, it's not easy. It's not beautiful to look at, but it's got to be done.
I think the real question here is Iran going to do anything to Israel? That's the real question that we're not talking about.
Well, what did they do last time? They launched 50 rockets that landed out in the cornfields.
Yeah. So is Iran going to do anything to Israel? Because if you really think about it, Iran's retaliation so far, when they give threats, their score on threats isn't that high. Okay, when they say they're going to do something, it's not a very high threat of we're going to come after you and do X, Y, Z. Now, could this be a different one? Possibly. Are they going to come out and do anything major? Possibly. Will they be successful? Possibly. But based on the last 8 years, they're going to send 50, 100, 200 rockets. They're going to, try to blow something up, and then they're going to say, we seek our vengeance, and they're going to play that clip for their people and move on. Mm-hmm. And everybody moves on. Qassem Soleimani, this one, and then it's going to be similar thing that
a bunch of rabbits in a cornfield die.
That's, and by the way, this guy was a former prime minister of Palestine. This guy wasn't a lightweight.
Ismail Haniyeh.
Yeah, he was a former.
He was the face of
face of Gaza. Was it a bombing? Yeah. Was it a assassination?
They got him in Tehran. But can I respond to what you're saying? You're absolutely right, PBD, because whether it's Hezbollah, whether it's the Houthis, whether it's Hamas, these are all just Iranian proxies. So Iran is going to respond one way or another. Is it going to be exactly what you said, this sort of faux missile attack that they did the last time earlier this summer, or are they going to use one of their proxies to attack? But Vinny, let me give you a little perspective, and this is something, because you're a Christian, and this is where my mind went when all this was happening, because now you're bringing Lebanon in. Now, Lebanon, other than Egypt, is the most, percentage-wise, it's the most Christian country in the Middle East.
I know a bunch
So
of
I'm going to give you some quotes out here from our friend Haniyeh, and then you can maybe respond to this because he said, "We promise you that we will not cede any single part of Palestine. We will not cede Jerusalem. We will continue to fight and we will not lay down our arms. This is the whole from the river to the sea. Palestine will be free," which is AKA, we're going to kill all the Jews. So, but here's their methodology, and this is where I want to bring the Christian. We come to say that the Quran is our constitution. We are committed to God and His holy book, Allah. Allah willing, they should try to carry out their crime against the Quran. Allah will tear the state apart and it will become Allah's lesson to anyone who tries to desecrate the holy book. There's no man-made laws that they're abiding by. This is a mandate from Allah. So I believe them. You know, Pat wrote the book, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. I respect the enemy because I absolutely believe that they actually want to take over Jerusalem, from the Palestine to the sea to be free. So here's my question to Christians out there. Do you know what percentage of the Middle East was Christian at the turn of the century in 1900? What percentage of the Middle East was Christian around 1900, turn of the century? Take a guess. Take a guess.
40?
40%? What do you got, Tom? Don't show it, Rob.
30?
Turn of the century.
1900.
French Foreign Legion and everything that was over there. It was French Lebanon. I'm going to go 70.
Okay. 70% of the Middle East?
No.
Gotcha.
Are you talking? Wait.
I'm saying Middle East.
What are you talking about? You're talking
I'm
about.
saying you know what the Middle East is, and you know what Christianity is. What percentage of the Middle East was Christian?
I'll go really low. If you're talking about the land that became the Israel state.
No, just Middle East, Tom.
Middle East in general, 5%.
Okay. PBD?
Less than 10 points.
You're actually pretty accurate. 13% in 1900 was Christian population in the Middle East. What is it here?
Boy,
12.7. Yeah, way off. So then you got to ask yourself, where was it at the turn of the 21st century, around 2000, 2010? I won't have 5%. So every 100 years, you're losing half the population. There it is, less than 5%. So by the way, by 2050, by the time that you have kids that are grown up, Christians will be 1 to 2% of the Middle East. By the way, where was Jesus from?
Jerusalem.
Nazareth, right?
Nazarene.
Middle East. Christianity started in the Middle East. So you're looking at countries like Egypt, like Lebanon, like Syria, like Iraq, like Iran, that had vast Christian populations. C'est la vie. So if you want to be a Christian in the Middle East, good luck going to visit any of your churches, of your holy areas under certain leadership. By the way, here's a fun fact for you. Egypt, 10 to 15 million current Christians. That's number one. Percentage-wise, Lebanon has the most Christians. But then you go down the list, and you have countries like Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Turkey, Palestine, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. On this list right here, I can show you. Pat, how many Christians are in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Yemen, any of the bottom? That's not percentage, by the way.
Less than 10?
10. Basically saying most Arab countries, dude, don't be Christian. Oh, here it is right here. Iran, Turkey, so as a Christian, you have to look at what's going on in the Middle East and be like, bruh, what's happening here? So I remember I bought you a gift from the Armenian Quarter. In Jerusalem, the beautiful thing about Jerusalem, which Ismail Haniyeh, Hamas basically says we want to take over, they want to take over all of it. The beautiful thing about Jerusalem, it's cut into 4 quarters. Did you know this?
Yes.
The Kotel is what it's called. There's the Jewish quarter, there's the Christian quarter, there's the Armenian quarter, and there's the Muslim quarter. Equal access to any single quarter you want. That's the beautiful thing of Jerusalem. Here it is right here, the 4 quarters. If someone like Hamas or someone like in that ilk takes over Jerusalem, there's no quarters. There's one whole. And it's under Hamas rule. So for Christians out there, just understand that this is the whole conversation of why, oh my God, these Christians, evangelical Christians are so supportive of Israel, because I think they recognize if they ever want to go visit places in the Middle East or go see where Jesus was born, they're going to have to go through Israel for that, not Hamas. That's my point.
Well, we'll see. I mean, this conflict has been going for how long now? You got 9 months? Is that what is that? July,
no, it's going to be 10 months. It's going to be October 7th is going to be a year.
9 months has been going. Let's go to the next story here. So 9/11, the 9/11, Rob, if you can pull up the story from New York Post, I'll read it and I'll go to Vinny on this. So Iman, so U.S. Reaches plea deal with alleged 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Vinny, what do you have on this story?
Okay, so by the way, another failure, because this is happening under the Biden administration. The Department of Defense are giving him. He orchestrated the whole thing, and two other guys, Walid Mohammed Salik Mubarak, bin Atash. How many names does this guy need? Mustafa Ahmed Adam Halswali. So they pleaded, excuse me, guilty to all charges, which included murdering almost 3,000 Americans. All right, it's 2,977, and they've been in prison since 2008, making it 16 years behind bars. Under the plea deal, and this is what drove me nuts, they will not face any solitary confinement. They'll continue to have access to legal representation and will be allowed more contact with their families, okay? Now, Pat, as an American, as a New Yorker, this is one of the biggest spit-in-the-face moments. Think about, they planned it, they killed all the Americans, what they did and what we've gone through and all the lives that have been lost, they're going to get special treatment and not get the death penalty. What about the families of all the people in New York that lost all their lives? How about this? How about the people that were above where the planes hit that had to decide, I'm going to jump to my death or go back inside and burn to death? And guess what? These guys get to chill and hang out with their, now they're among the other prison population. I get that it's in Guantanamo Bay, but unbelievable that our tax dollars have been paying for them, and they're going to keep paying for them because they said, you know what? Take the death penalty off the table. Just we want you guys to admit that you did it, and we all know that they did it. And it's just one of the most unbelievable stories. That I couldn't believe it. And this didn't make top. Yeah, did you even hear about this? Like they try to slip it in. So these guys are going to continue living. Meanwhile, 3,000 families have to forever deal with this. And just meanwhile, the families of the 9/11 victims have separately, this is just ongoing, filed a lawsuit against the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Adam, you brought up Saudi Arabia, looking to get some semblance of justice while the military commission process enters. Guess what? Its 23rd year. So these families have no justice, no nothing. Meanwhile, guys that have killed, by the way, other people have gotten the death penalty, Tom. There's 27 states in America that still have the death penalty, that have done lesser crimes. Yeah, that, kidnapping with a murder or whatever, you get the death penalty. These guys, the biggest terrorist attack on our soil, get to live out their lives comfortably. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and shame on our Department of Defense and the Biden.
What do you think should have happened to them?
But death penalty, the moment we knew, because we're not stupid, they were behind it, okay? They get the death penalty, period.
Tom.
Done deal.
So international criminals in the United States, first of all, I'd like to see them have the death penalty. There's a headline. But international criminals usually don't get that. When we took Manuel Noriega out of Panama, an evil, brutal, killer dictator, we took him down to Miami and we put him in a federal courthouse and then we stuck him in prison. And so foreign actors like this usually get treated like this because behind the scenes, foreign countries are, hey man, don't execute our guy. You're going to keep him in prison, but don't execute him publicly. You're going to have such crazy reaction from my citizens, they will go bonkers. And I think you should get the death penalty. Murder, special circumstances, gets capital punishment. And the death penalty is the informal term for capital punishment. This is a capital case. They should have gotten the death penalty. Conspiracy to commit murder, committing murder with special circumstances. But they're foreign nationals. And because they're foreign nationals, this card gets played and everybody worries about inciting violence among others if you carried that out.
Yeah, guess what? Because we got to watch.
I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
But that's the calculus.
Because we had to see their murder, their 3,000 murder live on television for years and years and years live. They should have executed them and put it live for everybody in America to see them go. I'm sorry to be that guy. I'm trying to be a good person, but that's absolutely ridiculous. Go tell that to the families. Go tell that to the families that had people die. Unbelievable. It drives me nuts.
I'm conflicted here, and I'll tell you why. Because the emotional side of me fully agrees with you, Vinny. Oh my God, this guy, we should kill him. Put it on TV. Kill this guy. He killed. Of course. The logical side of me is saying, all right, why aren't they killing this guy? Okay, you ever see the movie Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
we got to pick this guy's brain. We need to understand these people.
been there for 23 years,
We got to use
though.
this as an asset. We need to allow this guy to make phone calls to family. We need to basically figure out every single way that these people think. You're talking about whack-a-mole. Logically, I'm thinking, let's use this guy. Killing him helps us emotionally. Fucking kill him, of course. Logically, how can we use these people as an asset to find other people? So here's my question. We just had the conversation about how they killed the leader of Hamas in Tehran. How did they kill the leader of Hezbollah, the military commander in Beirut? Because they're using assets to get to the people.
Yeah.
So I don't know about this guy, Sheikh Mohammed, but these guys have family, they have people. Because imagine saying to this guy, you know, how many kids did you have? Oh, I have seven kids. Well, now you only have 3 because we've killed 4. Would you like to see your kids ever again? Yeah, I would. Yeah. Well, let's cut a deal here. That's the logical side of me thinking.
But you just went, because think about it, you just said about the 3 terrorists that were involved with Hamas. They didn't ask families. They just went after them and they killed them. We've had this scumbag for 23 years. We've had him and those 3 guys. I'm sorry, Adam. We've juiced them. We've milked them. We got all the information. Now we're giving him a special treatment because what? He signed a paper that said, you know what? I know you guys know I did it. Now I'm actually admitting that I did it. No.
Vinny,
I don't want. What else are you going to learn about him for 23 years?
It's not him. It's who does he know on the ground. If you ever want to see your family, if you ever want to talk to your kids again, I didn't just make this up.
They just gave him the access.
This is what the CIA, the FBI does. They use people as assets.
Didn't we show video a few weeks ago of a mother celebrating her son's death, who gave his life for the country, and to them it's a martyr, and she was celebrating.
Is this the lady that was like, la, 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 la?
That's right.
It was
celebrating.
disgusting.
So do you really think like
this lady right here?
Yeah, that lady right there.
Play it
Do
from
you
the
really
beginning.
think where they're? Go ahead.
This is. She's celebrating the fact that her son is a martyr. This is the pay for slay mentality. So their families will now get paid, literally pay for slay, when their son becomes a martyr and he goes up to heaven and gets 72
So the
virgins.
point is, like, you think these guys are sitting there, you threaten them, we're going to take that person's life's going to be that much? I don't know. I don't know if it is. I don't know if it's not. Not saying you're right or wrong. I just don't know in that environment that you're raised, that you're sitting there really falling for all of that. Maybe not. Let's go to the next story. A couple stories here before we wrap up. California City rolls out all-electric police fleet, first in U.S. South Pasadena, California has become the first U.S. city to deploy an all-electric fleet, replacing gas-empowered vehicles with 20 Teslas, 10 Model Ys, and 10 Model 3s for detective and administrative work, aiming for significant energy and maintenance savings with annual energy savings of $4,000 a vehicle. The city invested $1.85 million, meaning the city gave Elon Musk $1.85 million. That's what really it means, in a project covering EV charges and lease payments with over 50% of costs met by project partners. Mayor Evelyn Znaimer stated the transition reflects the city's vision of a sustainable future based on both sound fiscal management and environmental stewardship. Sergeant Tony Abdallah highlighted the cost savings and safety benefits, noted the cost savings are undeniable, and being able to bring Tesla's entire suite of crash and safety systems to bear on officer safety and then added benefit above and beyond the economics of operating and maintaining this modern EV fleet. Tom, thoughts on the story?
Well, first of all, this is amazing, but these are politicians that actually managed to tell the truth for 3 minutes and 14 seconds during the press conference. They told the truth about what they were saving for vehicle. It's saving the taxpayer. They told the truth about officers being protected and the crashworthiness of these Teslas being better than the Dodge Chargers and things they were using. They told the truth about the energy saving, and they care about the environment. You just have to remember, when you charge an electric car, you're just moving the exhaust pipe over to the power plant, right? Because the power plant's making electricity. So they all told the truth about it. They told the truth. The irony is, up in Sacramento, the avowed enemy of Elon Musk, Gavin Newsom, is probably just absolutely flipping out because this was a rational, well thought out plan to save the city money, protect the officers better, and reduce emissions to the environment if you believe, that side of it. I think it's just hysterical, the irony. Gavin Newsom, wait, South Pasadena did what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and this comes the day after they just had that war. What was their back and forth on X? That's beautiful. This is perfect timing. Literally the day after.
And by the way, Elon had another war. Rob, if you want to pull up Maduro's clip towards Elon, that Elon retweeted, which I thought was absolutely fascinating. Can you imagine Maduro's out there talking to his military, telling them, did you see this or no? Rob, pull up the clip. Keep going, keep going, keep going. It's a clip of Maduro screaming, hollering to his people of what to do to Elon Musk. Not that one. There's one where you see he's literally standing in front of his military.
I think you might have passed it, Rob. Maybe.
Maduro Musk, if you type in.
Does this have to do with the Starlink?
Yeah, play this clip. Go for it.
Elon Musk, quien se mete conmigo, se seca. Quien se mete con Venezuela, se seca. Elon Musk. ¿Quieres pelea? Vamos a darle, Elon Musk. Estoy listo. Soy hijo de Bolívar y de Chávez. No te tengo miedo, Elon Musk. Vamos a darnos, pues. Donde quiera. Como decimos en Caracas, en los barrios. Si tú quieres, yo quiero, Elon Musk. ¿Y dónde?
ISAP, we will check it.
Elon Musk.
Yeah, well, this...
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
This is exactly what I was referencing.
Wrong country, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I was referencing before. You have Elon Musk, who is a builder and a creator and changing the world, and you have Nicolás Maduro, who is a destroyer and has literally been responsible for destroying Venezuela. We showed the stats of what Venezuela was 50 plus years ago, the #1 economy in Latin America, top 10 economy in the world. Elon Musk is worth how much? $250 billion?
Yes.
What's the GDP of Venezuela? I don't know if you can find that real quick. It's probably not as much as what Elon Musk is worth.
I don't think so.
So
$482 billion.
Okay, so Elon Musk is worth, is that accurate right now? That's in 2014.
Whoa.
What is it in 2024, 10 years later? Because it's probably way less than that. My assumption. But
100, current 102.
Okay, so 10 years ago, it was
GDP
400
is
billion.
currently 102
All right, this is my point. Oh my God, sometimes I'm right. 10 years ago, the GDP was 400 something billion. Now it is 100 billion. So they've lost 75% of their GDP under Nicolás Maduro. I rest my case.
Tom.
I think what you have here is the realization by even strongman of a struggling, dictatorial strongman of a struggling country knows where the real power is. And he's reaching out and he's trying to smack the head of Elon Musk, and he's trying to look tough and look everything, but really he is getting played, and it's embarrassing. It's a bad look. And by the way, you just stole an election and you're a dictator.
Yes.
And so to divert attention, you decide you're going to say, I'll fight Elon Musk. Yeah.
Rob,
great.
play this is the clip I was talking about. I just found it. Watch this clip here. This is Maduro speaking to his military. Well, let me read what Mario Nafal says first and then play the clip. So Maduro gives police instructions amid protests surrounded by a strong security detail. Maduro went out to give instructions. His top priority, keep Elon Musk out by any means. Go ahead.
Acaba de agarrar un procedimiento ahorita con dos chamos que vienen con pistola. Yo muy respetuosamente le pido, por favor, que no lo agarren porque no tiene justificación. Acaban de pagar $50, está activado el procedimiento. ¿Pagaron $50 a quién? A dos muchachos. ¿Quién le pagó? No tengo más información, me dijeron que venía usted, la información Tinela, aseguré el sitio. No lo suelten. No, lo tengo para allá. Okay. Van saliendo a hacer el procedimiento, no grupo le digo. Correcto. Esta zona ha sido muy violenta, Guarindera. Esta zona aquí, ¿ves? Entonces...
Can you imagine you're sitting there talking to your military about an entrepreneur billionaire in the U.S.?
Yeah. PBD, this is a case example of a capitalist versus a communist.
Yep.
And just look at the numbers, look at the math, look at the growth of Tesla, look at the growth of Neuralink, look at the growth of Starlink, look at the growth of the Boring Company, look at the growth of SpaceX, look at the growth of Elon Musk, and compare that to the last 10 years of Venezuela under Nicolás Maduro. One is trending in the right direction like a rocket ship, and one is literally imploding before our eyes. And the best he has is, hey, Elon, ¿tú quieres pelear? You want to fight me, bro?
Yeah, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work, Maduro.
Let's save that voice, bro. Go do your bubbles. Go do your bubbles because we don't want this.
These bubbles out of this.
All right, gang. Enjoyed it. Appreciate you guys for being with us. I think we have a podcast going out tomorrow. Either Russell Peters or a possible secret, a sniper
Secret
guy,
weapon?
right? That we're talking about sniper maybe going out. So stay tuned for that. If not, have a great weekend, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.